Darlene here. Welcome to my channel and welcome to Shed Wars. We are a gardening community teaching the world how to garden. So I hope you enjoy today's video. Are you ready? Let's go. Greetings, 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 greetings. Shed Warriors world. This is Darlene from Darlene's Garden, making my second video required for Shed Wars for the month of September. I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about the benefits of growing grapes, because I'm going to show you my grape harvest and what I did with it. Darlene here from Darlene's Garden. I will introduce myself and what this is all about in a little bit after I tell you about the benefits of growing grapes. Vitis vinifera grapes. It's a woody climber, and it's native to Europe and Asia. Grapes are nourishing and rich in antioxidants. And the seed oil, which I do a lot of my cooking with grape seed oil, is a source of essential fatty acids and vitamin E. Why should a person grow grapes? Well, first of all, because it's a fruit. Baskets and baskets of the most luscious fruit over the long season once the plants are established. And I got my very first real harvest this year, as I will tell you about in a little bit. There is a grapevine for nearly every climate. If you have sunshine and can provide good air circulation and well-drained soil and a sturdy structure, such as an arbor or a fence. Ours is on our chain link fence. You can grow grapes if you have a structure. And because they don't have to travel very far, the fence grapes can be grown at home and picked at their peak of ripeness. Well, there's more reasons to grow grapes. How about all the homemade stuff that I'll tell you about? One that I didn't even think of when I was explaining to you later in this video was raisins. I could have made raisins. Maybe next year. Grapes are a good value because it's a long-lasting plant. It can thrive for decades if you have it planted in the right spot and with the proper care. It's not uncommon for a grapevine, especially in warmer climates, to be producing bushels of fruit when it's pushing 50 years old. That's quite a return on your investment, for sure. And grapes fall into the less is more category, because one grapevine can produce up to 50 pounds of grapes. Now, I've got more than one grapevine, and all I got this year, as I'll tell you later, was about 18 pounds. But this is the first year I've really had a harvest from them. So I'm fairly sure that over the next few years, they will give me more and more grapes. Grapes are easy to grow. I found great pride in taking cuttings from the neighbors' grapevines and starting my own grapevines with those cuttings. They're super easy to take cuttings, and they root really easily. And I have three, I think, pots with grape cuttings in them now that I have to decide where I want to plant. They don't require a lot of care except for their annual pruning, and watch my video that I'm going to put down in the description about how I did that. Grapefruits, the fruit from the grape forms on 1-year-old growth only. And this is particularly true if you're growing winemaking grapes. My grapes are table grapes. I don't know if there's, I will have to do research to find out if there's much of a difference. The pruning helps the grapes conform to whatever kind of trellis you're putting them on. The grapes also add drama to your yard and to the landscape. A leaf canopy of a grapevine trained over an arbor or fence is an alluring focal point. Imagine what 5 rows of trained grapevines laden with fruit would be. Wow. Maybe someday it would be a showstopper for sure. That canopy of grapes also provides a few rows of cooling shade in the summer. And one more thing, the deep roots tap moisture in drought conditions, making them an excellent choice for long, hot, dry summers. They play well with other vines also. It can be an ideal host for other climbers like roses or jasmine or trumpet vines or passion flowers, clematis, or even annual vines. One year I grew some cucumbers over there, and cucumbers did better there than they have anyplace else where I've planted them in years since. And the trick is to get your balance of plants just right. So for companion planters, just about any climber is good. Well, the best thing of all is that they're good for you. Besides being easy to grow and prolific, grapevines are a rich source of vitamin A and C, B6, folate, and they have minerals like potassium, calcium, and iron, and loaded with polynutrients such as resveratrol, I'm not sure I'm saying that right, which is now believed to play a role in longevity. So eat more grapes, live longer. And they're lovely in winter, summer, spring, and fall. No matter what the season, they add interest and a sense of maturity to your yard. And especially in the winter, they have a rustic architectural quality, often in contrast to other things going on in the winter. In the spring, you've got your bright spearmint green foliage, and summer shows off those distinctive large leaves. And come fall, the same leaves quite possibly can turn colors of autumn. And even when they don't give you fruit, the grapevines can still be an awesome garden plant. They're very pretty on our fence, I know that. And they're loved by beneficial insects, especially ladybugs. I know when I was plucking my grapes off of their stems, I ran across a few ladybugs that I very kindly took outside and released them into the outdoors. And they can be brag material, especially if you make your own wine and have your own label. We're not wine people. But seriously, there's no reason why you shouldn't grow some grapes. Clear back in March, I made a shed war video. It was my second video in March, and I talked about pruning my grapes and about how important it was to prune the grapes. So I suggest you go back and watch that video. I will try to remember to put a link to it down in the description. My hope in pruning the grapes was that we would have lots of grapes. The grapes are several years old, like about maybe 3 or 4 years old. Part of them, a couple of them, I had purchased at the store, as little plants. But the rest of them were cuttings that I had taken from the neighbor's grapevines. And I thought probably it was a pipe dream that I would have grapes this year. Last year I had, a couple of clumps, and part of them didn't ever get ripe, and part of them just got eaten by the birds before we had a chance to get any grapes. This year, as they were growing, I saw that I had a lot of clumps of grapes. They kind of grow in clumps, grapes, a clump of lots of grapes, and I had lots of clumps. So I had hopes that I would have grapes. Well, as many of you know, since the end of July, I have not been able to get out in my garden, much less pick my grapes or even look at them. So hubby has been kind of watching over things. I can't say that he's much of a gardener, but he does love me, so he does what he needs to do to at least pick things that are ripe. And as you will see, we've got grapes. He used gallon Ziploc bags. We got 7 gallons of grapes. And I think I did a short the other day talking about it, and I don't remember if I told you, I think I told you how many pounds of grapes that was. It was 18 pounds, just a tad over 18 pounds. That's a lot of grapes, if you ask me. Okay, so what in the world does a gardener do with all those grapes once they grow them? I found that it was fun to grow the grapes, not just this year, but combined all the years that I've been trying to grow them. We're not wine people, so we're not making wine out of our grapes. However, I thought perhaps I should make grape juice. I do like grape juice. I seldom buy it because it always strikes me as being kind of sweet. But they're my very own grapes. I don't care if it's sweet. Some of them, well, I'll show you in a minute what I did with them. Some of them I added Splenda, and some of them I didn't. And they're just whatever sweetness the grapes are. So let me show you what I did with the grapes that I picked, and give you ideas for once you pick your grapes, what can you do with those grapes? First of all, I could have put them in the freezer to work on later, but I chose to work on them today, and well, yesterday and today. They're not, some of them aren't very big, and some of them are. The main thing I had to do, and this is kind of a tedious task, I had to pluck the grapes off of of the grapevines off of the stems, one grape at a time. And that was a tedious task. Reminds me of when you grow peas or beans and have to shell the pods. It's kind of a similar task. So it's nice just to sit and watch YouTube videos or TV and pluck grapes off of the stems, and ready for preparation for whatever I'm going to do with the grapes, which you will see shortly what I did with the grapes. And well, I already told you that it was going to make grape juice, but that's a lot of grape juice. And my thought is, I could get the juice out of them, but then what do you do with the pulp? So I did a couple of different things, as you will see here shortly, to help use up my grapes. The pruning that I did in the spring paid off. And I hope I will be able to do pruning again this year. Here's a few of them, what they look like in the strainer that I put them in. And 7 or 8 gallons of grapes makes a lot of grapes. And as you can see, most of them are purple grapes. Here's a couple more. You can see I have some green grapes in there, and those are ones that some of them were soft. They looked like they were ripe, but they hadn't turned purple. But I left them in. And you saw that there were some grapes that were not really big enough to bother with. So those didn't get plucked off. Now I have these in a big cooker pan, and I poured some water in there also, and I'm cooking the grapes. How long did I cook them? Just long enough for them to make grape juice out of the water that was in there, basically. And there's still more to do. Well, here's grape juice. And I'm not going to show you how I canned them, how I actually canned them, because there's tons of videos on the internet telling you how to can grapes or any other thing that you might want to can. So besides the juice, out of the pulp, I made jam, and then I canned some of the grapes, just canned grapes. So, grape juice, canned grapes, grape jam, grape jelly, wine if you're wine drinkers. I'm sure there are other things that can be done with grapes. Pretty soon it will be the time of year that they start going dormant. And when January or February comes around again, it will once again be time to prune my grapes. Hopefully my legs will allow me by that time to get out and actually do that, so that hopefully next year I will have lots of grapes again. I hope that you've learned something from this video. And that growing grapes is something that you're able to do. I'm in zone 6B, or zone 6, I think it's B. zone 6. So it's a relatively short growing season, meaning that any day now we could get our first frost. But I'm watching the calendar because I've got other stuff outside in my garden that needs to be harvested before that frost actually comes. And so I will keep my hubby apprised of what I need done. And because he loves me, he will do it. And because I think you are all really special too, I will bring you along in some of my videos and let you know what else I do with my garden. So until next time, my Shed War friends and my people watching Shed Wars world, may the good Lord richly bless you. May your grapes produce lots and lots of grape juice or whatever you make out of it. And may you always seek the truth. Darlene from Darlene's Garden, saying bye for now. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.